Looks like Lisa's back. Welcome back, my name is Fuds to another episode of World End Economica. I still can't say it properly. Time I said that is he put down his coffee cup. Before long, Lisa was in the living room and she blinked in surprise as she noticed Toyama. Did I need to make a payment today? No, I just wanted to speak to you today. Do you have some time right now? As he stood up, Toyama hunched over as he looked shorter compared to Lisa. Indeed, it looked like only a small matter. Since he'd said it, I could feel like he really did need to go out of his way how he acted. Perhaps it was another manifestation of someone with feet planted on solid ground. I thought that to myself and started seeing Toyama as a grown-up in me his own way. Oh no, I don't mind, but did Haru do something to offend you? Just as I was thinking about that, Lisa spoke up abruptly. Toyama turned to look to me just as Lisa was. He laughed quietly before turning back to Lisa. We had an entertaining conversation. Oh my! Lee was actually surprised, but I was a bit hurt by her reaction. What exactly did you think, anyway? But, well, okay, I understand. So you wanted to talk about the loan, then? No, actually here to talk about how to grow lilies. At Toyama's joke, Lisa laughed and nodded disappointingly. For the lender and lendee, it seemed like they were tied together as if by fate. In that case, you're almost a bit cramped. Please come to my room. If that's possible, I would appreciate it. What's going on with those little flashes? Toyama followed after Lisa. Watched him go suddenly when Lisa stopped and turned towards me. How? Yes, Lisa? What? Keep an eye on Hagana, okay? She had to put it that way since there was no telling how Hagana would try to help. She found out Toyama was in Lisa's room discussing loan terms. However, given the exchange from earlier, I didn't know whether or not to make any guarantee on my surveillance duties. Or that's what I wanted to say, but I realised I couldn't really that. So I just nodded my head half-heartedly. It's possible perhaps they did show some concern towards me. Before long, Lisa and Toyama ascended the stairs towards the second floor. With me left here in the living room become strangely quiet, so I returned to looking over stocks one by one. My eyes pored over numbers, but nothing stuck in my head. There are many things I should have thought about, which prevented the limited capacity of my mind to take in any of it. Afterwards, the day became dark as the program changed to night, and it appeared like Toyama had left. Or so it seemed as Lisa came to the stairs by herself. He might have gone out through the door on the third floor to avoid running into Hagana. It appeared it was a discussion that warranted sufficient preparations, and I could see from Lisa's facial expression she returned to the living room. It was the third time I'd seen her expressionless look as she poured herself a cup of water and just looked at it. She seemed serious, so serious that I couldn't really say anything. Lisa downed the cup in one go and sighed briefly. She wiped her mouth haphazardly. When she raised her downcast face up, she was back to her usual Lisa. Why don't I prepare dinner? But somehow those words sounded tense and tired. I wondered what Toyama's talk was all about. Somehow I didn't think it was a trivial matter of any sort. Excuse me. When Lisa's behaviour was kind as if she never crossed paths with Toyama either. Lisa was an adult. I believe that firmly. First, without asking any other questions, I just nodded my head. Also, it appeared like a computer terminal on top of a sink really was a trick of Lisa's. I wasn't sure whether or not that was a good thing or not. What I did know was that when I saw Hagana again at dinner, she just guarded me even more than she did in the morning. Also, my feeling of guilt only increased. Investing had run itself into the ground like a rock. And now many questions. How would these matters be resolved? I wondered as I lay in my bed that night. The next day was a day off. The actual markets were closed. The investment contest virtual markets were likewise closed. Apparently server maintenance and data aggregation were necessary. Thus I had nothing to do. As for actual trading, I pored over every bit of news in the morning that was any value or effect. Occasionally when I looked at the news, it seemed as if something new was happening every day these days, but if you follow the news at least a week, it was clear that this was not the case. First, with nothing better to do, I headed out in the afternoon. It's possible I'd have won him the law if I loitered around here on a weekday afternoon, and that was enough to keep me shut in. When I was living at home, I would often spend my days outdoors. If I didn't get out and do some exercise from time to time, I'd rot. Besides, I most likely wanted to Ghana if I stayed in my church. As for Lisa, after Toyama came by, she unexpectedly had begun to meditate all the time. I packed my computer in my bag, slung it over my shoulder. After tying my shoelaces, I headed up to the third floor and headed out. Today was a clear day, and probably due to a days of rain that washed away the atmosphere, I was able to see clearly for a fair distance. The laundry fluttered in a part of the third floor yard, while lilies bloomed in a corner, their numbers diminished because I'd pulled some out earlier. Through the landscape in front of me seemed tranquil. I was bothered by the number of problems I had cropped up. When I thought about them, the vastness and closeness of space right outside the dome increased in vague fears in me. I felt completely alone out here. The more I thought about it, the more I knew it couldn't be solved. I shook my head and took off, kicking off from roofs and walls. I hadn't decided on where to go. Instead, I decided on what to do. Gunko! When I saw an old lady selling piping hot steamed buns out in front, she had me one with a pair of tongs to a customer and responded. Don't know whether or not they're a storefront or not. Ah, a delivery company, I believe. What do you need with them? I see. Do you know I should go to meet with them? A 4 mortar one, the minced vegetable meat bun was a good size and tasty. While having one in lieu of lunch, I asked the old lady at the shop about Chris's whereabouts. Just a minute, let's see. Since today's a Sunday, if you're looking for Chris, he's out on a third block doing a delivery. The answer came from a customer passed by, overheard my question. Third block? Yep, over by the tunnel, connects the fifth outer section. And Dave's office is usually over there lazing about. Ah, over there, huh? It was a favourite spot of mine. The old man who gave me information proceeded to purchase 5 steam buns. The old lady quickly restocked the steamer with fresh buns. Thanks, I'll be off now. Sure. Old lady, give me a few big ones, will ya? The old man joked around as I turned around, stuffed the bun in my mouth and prepared to run off. I was stopped by the old lady who handed the buns to the old man. Ah, wait a moment. In films I'd seen, there'd always be someone playing a thief who would say something like, what kind of idiot would stop when told to stop? Ever since I left home and got used to being chased, those words had a strong impact on me. That's why I hesitated for a moment, switching into a stance where I could run away at a moment's notice and turn around. When I did that, the old lady took her tongs and placed a bun in front of me. If you're going to meet with Chris, hand this to her. That girl, she's a bit too skinny if you ask me. Words of the old lady whose face was round like the steamed buns was enough to persuade me. She looks like quite a nice girl, doesn't she? Quite a nice lady. I nodded obediently and took the paper wrap piping hot bun. Be sure to give it to her. I'm counting on you. She didn't even ask for money, so there's no reason for me to be suspicious. By the side of the shop was a stray cat napping in the glow of the sun. I certainly didn't like this kind of atmosphere on the outside. The pompous denizens of a white belt, though they lived in a nice area, were certainly not this open. Everyone was suspicious of each other, and the mood showed it. Naturally, the residents of a white belt who made up the middle and upper class of society were always in constant competition with each other in Newton City, so it was probably to be expected. But I could become just as dull as them by getting wrapped up in this competition, but I'd better exercise caution. As I thought about that, I ran towards the third block as mentioned earlier. On the lunar surface, the temperature and humidity level were fairly consistent all year round. It was at most similar during the spring on Earth. The temperature and weather made for a glorious day, I felt, enough to make you perspire when exercising after eating a meal. After holding myself in my room for a week, I was ready for some release as I leapt, hopped, and navigated the extreme highs and lows of a town. Living on the lunar surface must be really, really cool because you get to do all loads of acrobatics off buildings. It's always good weather. One reason I enjoyed exercise, outside of the fact I had learned how to usefully it was to condition my body, was that I put away distracting thoughts while in motion and I pushed forward. To be able to fly through the air, through this town on a nice afternoon was a great indescribable feeling. I leaped from rooftop to rooftop and soon I was at a cliff. The third block connected to the fifth outer sector. The only way up was a rough path that ran around the edge. I had no intention to go that way, so I ran like a cat up the side of a wall. Due to a low gravity, there were traffic signs by the cliff for the sake of others who do the same thing. I used a sign as a stepping stone to one more flying leap. Just that moment, an old lady on an electric scooter came out of a tunnel from a direction of a fit-out section. Seeing me jump on the bottom of a cliff did startle her a bit. As for me, I thought nothing of it, and once I reached the road, I looked forward to it towards the sixth outer section. They said she was in this area making a delivery, but I couldn't see it from up here. Just as I thought about that while I stared at the distance, I heard a voice from above and behind me. Ah! I turned around towards that familiar voice. Sitting on the top of a tunnel was Chris. Next to her was a large bag, and in her hands was that beat-up terminal of hers she'd carry around. Thinking I was pretty lucky to find me so quickly, I grabbed that bun the old lady gave me and chucked it at Chris without saying a word. Ah! What? It's from the old lady at the Steam Bun Shop. Told you to eat it up. Ah, I see. While Chris looked at me with that packet in confusion, she swallowed her saliva in her mouth. Just as I always did, I leapt forward to a tree on the side of the road, then using it as a foothold, did a 3-point jump and leapt to the top of it all. Chris peeled away the paper timidly. Didn't seem at all surprised when I leapt up to her. Perhaps Chris also would like this one, like I did when she made her deliveries. What are you doing here? She can be quite cute when she's like that, can't she? That's my question just as Chris bit into a bun. Due to her timing, Chris had become flustered and a large chunk of a bun in her mouth. Oh, sorry, no need to be a panic. What the hell was that noise? Chris nodded dutifully, and after munching for a bit, she gulped with satisfaction. So, what are you doing here? I asked her once more, and Chris poured something out of her canteen, took a cup up before answering. I'm studying. But isn't it a Sunday? Ah, yes. I was just intending to make small talk, but somehow Chris took that to mean she was somehow wrong and looked downcast. I was a bit surprised as I continued. No, well, there's nothing wrong with that, I think. You're studying math, right? Yeah. That's pretty cool. Huh? When it comes to studying, I always felt it was something you did in a darkened room, just grinding away. But to study out here in a relaxed manner is, well, pretty cool. That was not entirely a lie. Lisa once told me about a great artist or something who would seek out good places to isolate themselves in order to think about an important problem. What I saw in front of me was entirely different from what I imagined. There was a large bag next to her, which made it seem like she was just taking a break on her way out to delivery. It looked like she was also using as a cushion. In her hand was a canteen. While taking occasional sips from a steaming, warm-looking tea in a cup, she seemed to be in deep thought as she looked at the beautiful scenery in front of her. This relaxing atmosphere was perfectly fitting for a calm girl like Chris, I realised. Ah, well. But it seemed like Chris wasn't used to being praised like that. She looked away rather anxiously before becoming downcast again. But even then, it was easy to see from her reddened face that she didn't exactly hate it either. In any case, your bun's going to get cold. When I said that, she took a fleeting glimpse at a steamed bun, looked at me again before looking back down. Look at me, look at the bun. Look at me, look at the bun. Your bun's now an oyster. That's not wrong hand for it. She timidly started eating the bun. She was like a small creature. I had to hold back to keep from teasing her. I knew that Chris felt somewhat awkward and I stood up and gazed at the scenery from the top of the tunnel. However, it appeared like Chris had finally gotten over her timidness and she bravely stuffed her cheeks filled with a bun. I saw a good opening in that moment to break the ice. Hey, there's something I want to ask you. Her obedient reply contrasted sharply with the fact she was not talking with a mouthful. Lips had some bits of meat in them. She wiped her mouth hurriedly as I pointed it out. You're friendly with Vagana, right? Our family's cat, being examined by the mass observation equipment of the orbital elevator, was probably just a stray that survived itching and ride to her moon despite decompression and low temperatures. But when he splashed water in his face, it looked like she was looking at me now. But our cat could leap at me angrily when it came up to its senses. Chris looked at me with upturned eyes, seemingly asking me if I was angry at her. There's something I wanted to ask you. Since I was standing while Chris had been sitting, I was physically looking down at her and averted my eyes for the first time. I realised this was kind of pitiful, I guess, so it was really feeling awkward asking a question like that. Do you happen to know what Hagana likes? I tried to figure out the quickest way to resolve the unfathomable situation eating away at me, and this is my solution. She started to talk, but apparently she realised that there was still some of that bun in her mouth. She closed her eyes in confusion before chewing and swallowing the rest of it, and sighed in relief before rephrasing what she was going to say. You're talking about Miss Hagana? Yeah, You look like you come to a church often, so do you know anything? Chris looked dumbfounded as she looked up at me, looking at me with innocent eyes as I was wondering what I was trying to say. I was still feeling awkward, so I didn't look back at Chris. So in a Chris-like way, she must have thought she had some strange misunderstanding of the situation, as her cheeks suddenly turned red and clasped her hand. Yeah, what? Mr. Garner? Don't get a wrong idea here. I put my face close to her in a threatening manner. Chris closed her eyes quickly and brought her hands up over her head in defence, and she curled up. But of course I wasn't going to hit her. I sat up. She opened one eye and looked up at me cautiously. But because of a simple mistake, I did something bad to her Garner. Something bad? A lot happened. And a sour expression as I said it, which caused Chris to avert her eyes somewhat as she spoke somewhat timidly. So, well, it's something to give her by way of apology, right? In a simple sense, yes. Ah. As Chris said it, her expression changed. She had a distant look on her face as if she was thinking about something, but perhaps because she usually came here to think about maths problems, it was more extreme. Just a quick glimpse at her made it hard to see if she had a guy or she was a guy or a girl. Looking to like that girl, somehow I had a feeling that somehow she grew up to be a very beautiful woman. I definitely can see that already. The sound of a small motor, single passenger electric bike left the tunnel. That's when Chris looked at me and spoke. You're a good person, aren't you? Yeah? My response might have been unintentionally strong, but Chris fell back suddenly and I couldn't hear to start giggle and laugh. It doesn't matter whether or not I'm a good guy or a bad guy, so do you have any ideas or not? Oh yes. The things Mr. Garner likes, right? She said this obediently with some hesitation. Something Miss Annoying definitely was a very girlish trait. Must definitely be bad when it comes to girls. No matter the situation, I hated how I felt like a kid when there was a girl in front of me. She doesn't really say much about this sort of stuff. Anything works. Anything she might have had an interest in, perhaps? Something she had an interest in. Since she seems to have a frank personality, perhaps this kind of talk didn't happen often. But as I waited patiently, Chris pondered this matter. Chris looked up suddenly and said something. Ah! You thought of something? Ah, no, well, what? At my question, Chris pointed towards the front of a road at the bottom of a tunnel and spoke. There's Mr. Garner. I looked out in front of me and it did appear that Garner was on a path heading our way. Thanks for sloping her head, it didn't appear like she knew I was here. I was panicked and realised things would be bad if she saw me here. Keep quiet about me coming here. As I said that to Chris, I turned towards the cliffs behind me and leapt into a thicket of trees there. Chris followed me with her eyes as I went, but before long she could hear Garner calling out to her as she turned around in a panic. However, her Garner wasn't about to ascend at the top of a tunnel, so Chris gathered up her things, headed down, and disappeared from sight. Her Garner's timing was rather annoying, but it was just a matter of finding another opportunity to talk to Chris. It's also possible she was sharper than I took her for, or discreetly trying to get her Garner to tell about her interests. I held on to that hope as I hid myself in the space between the unnaturally planted giant trees. I couldn't stop wondering about how her Garner happened upon this place all of a sudden. There's no way she would have come looking for me. Perhaps her Garner needed to talk to Chris. Perhaps it was about her studies. That's what I thought, but remembering how her Garner looked as she walked down her path, I wonder if there was not something else on her mind. It's not like I wouldn't be able to eavesdrop on them if I tried, but there would be no way to talk my way out of it if I was discovered. So I immediately took a detour and headed back to a church. Lisa was in the living room, so I guess she was in a room. And that's where I'm going to be right now, because I'm going to end the episode. But as ever, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. My name, as ever, is Spuds. Bye bye.